Alright guys, so this is my first video update of my A-18E Hornet. It's not a Super Hornet, it's the one from Revell's version that my little brother actually bought me for Christmas, and it has taken me this long to get to building it. So I've been working at it really slowly, getting the cockpit painted so far, the ejection seat and the stick to it, and that's all I've gotten so far, except for gluing a few pieces together like the intakes. I'm working on that, which is probably the hardest part I've come to so far, just because there are white pieces, there are white markings in there that have to be painted that I'm not sure on how exactly I'm gonna do it. So it's gonna take a while for that. And this is my first video update on the intakes that I'm gonna be talking about. I recently posted a comment on the Scale Aircraft page and my page as well, the Scale Military Models that I run, asking how you guys paint the white markings in there for those of you who have put this model together, or the other version, not just the version that the Blue Angels fly with the round intakes instead of the square ones. And I think the square ones will be easier instead of the round ones, because just you can tape it off easily in there. But I will be painting, what I've come to the conclusion that I will be painting the whole thing white first, and then after that masking off the white area, and then painting the gray over it after that. And I will be doing the black basing technique for this one, like I did on my F-15E Eagle that I did, and it really turned out the best. I haven't gotten anything better than that. So I really like the black basing technique way better than just the pre-shading the normal panel lines, and then slowly painting the rest of the aircraft, like on the wings, and making sure I don't cover up the pre-shaded panel lines. It's just easier to put the whole black coat on it, gloss or not gloss, gloss or flat, and then just put the first color that I'm going to be putting on the black dots on the gray dots on there. Just what do you guys call it? I forgot. I just can't remember it right now. But anyway, and then putting a very thin coat of the very last coat on it. And I recently did, before I started doing this kit, I did get a few supplies like the Tamiya Extra Thin that works really well. I don't know if you can see that, but this stuff is really great for small pieces because it dries really fast. Because before I was using just the regular Testors liquid cement, and it dries quicker than the Testors tube glue, so it's better. And I also, it's liquid, it's not like a gel, so it's a lot easier for me. And I also bought 2 acrylic paints. This is the light ghost gray, the FS36375 in an acrylic version, because I'm trying to stay away from, let me get you that. I'm trying to stay away from enamel paints because they just stink really bad. Although I do, for my first coat of as a primer, like the black basing, I do use enamel, because acrylic, do not use acrylic, especially the Model Master acrylic. It does not stay on there if you do not have some sort of lacquer coat, just something besides acrylic on this plastic. It just will not stick. I've tried that before. I've tried masking, like putting a coat of acrylic on here. without primer of any kind or paint of any kind, and then just masking. And then when I ripped off the mask, I noticed that it just ripped the paint right off, so I had to redo the whole thing. And the other paint I was talking about, the dark ghost gray, so there are two Model Master paints, dark ghost gray and light ghost gray. The dark ghost gray is the FS36320. I got those online from scalehobbyist.com. And it did take a while to get here. I think it was like a week and a half. But they have some really good stuff on their website, scalehobbyist.com. That's where I get all my model supplies beside my local hobby shops, or my local hobby stores like Hobby Lobby and Michael's. They do great. They have really good kits there sometimes. Although if I do want to get a better kit or a different kit, I have to drive 45 minutes to another hobby store like Michael's to get the kit that my local one does not sell. But yeah, anyway, on with the whole cockpit in here. I have not glued the whole two halves together because I do not have the intakes in there yet, as you can see, but I have glued like smaller pieces in here, and have glued the whole cockpit tub on to here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see that very well. So let me try. There we go. I don't know if you can see that very well. My camera is like really close. I'm using my iPhone camera on a tripod, so it's not focusing really well, and there's just not enough light. Now, anyway, so I haven't glued those together, and I did get the ejection seat painted, glued, painted, and it was really hard getting rid of that seam line, as you can see right on there, because I had to do a lot of sanding, putting, and I used this liquid surface primer by Tamiya, just regular gray liquid surface primer for that. I used it on there. I put like a paintbrush, used a paintbrush and just put it along the seam line, and then waited for it to dry, and then sanded it, and then it just mostly got rid of the seam line. But I really don't care about the ejection seat here, the seam line on this ejection seat, because it really won't be seen. And another thing I don't like about this kit, the Revell's kit, is that the ejection seat, in real life it really has more detail to it than what the kit comes with right in the back, because there's a whole lot more that's supposed to be on the back of it. But on this kit it's boring, and it's just flat, just a flat surface right on the back of the ejection seat, so that's not really cool. I did get it all painted, as you can see. Let me get more light. I did get it all painted, and I put a coat of lacquer, gloss lacquer on it by Testers, just the regular spray can lacquer on it. And I put one small decal on there, that little red one. Let me get a toothpick so I can point it out. So that red one right there, it's kind of shining right now, but I need to put a flat coat on it to get rid of that gloss coat on there. But I'll do that towards the end. I won't actually put the ejection seat in there, so I can mask off the cockpit when I do the first main coat on the whole airplane. But as far as the fitting issues for the whole aircraft, it's really bad. It's not, I mean, if you can see if I put this all the way in together, it doesn't fit together really well. I will have to do a lot of sanding here, especially when I put these in, because these are like, they're part of the intakes, and they cover the wheel wells right here, and they just slip right on in here like this. So you can see there's a pretty big gap between these, so I will have to sand right there and get rid of all these seam lines on here like that. I'll have to get rid of all that and make sure that's not there. I hate seam lines, especially where the aircraft is going to be the most visible. So I'll have to get rid of that. But the nice thing about this is it does have recessed panel lines instead of raised, so that's neat. It doesn't have a whole lot of detail to the panel lines though. I don't know if you can see, yeah, right there. It's nice, but not a whole lot of detail, and they're not really deep, so you could easily just sand the recessed panel lines and the rivet lines away. So I'm going to have to be careful of that. And this identification tag for the Revell Incorporated 2005 made in China, because that's not, of course, that's not on the real aircraft, so I'm going to have to get rid of that. But the wheel wells for this, I mean, as you can see, it's nice. To remove this piece. A whole lot of detail. So it's going to be, I'm going to paint it white, and then I'm going to add a little bit of black in there for the cord, for all the tubing and the piping in there, and all those lines and cords that run along the wells here. And I will weather it, of course, as well, but not too heavy, because I have noticed that on the real aircraft, Navy, Marines, because the Navy uses this one, the Marines uses the one with the round intakes. But the wheel wells are not dirty on either versions, and they're actually maintained and kept very clean, so I won't do any heavy weathering on this. I'll just keep them light and just like it's used well, but not heavy, if you know what I mean. What other thing? Oh yeah, for the decals, this is the Revell version, so it's, I think, let me look, it is the A-18E Super Hornet, but it's used, you get one squadron on here, I think, or two, and it's the VFA 122 Flying Eagles, and I thought that was extremely boring. There's no, I don't think that fighter squadron even is in service anymore, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm not going to use it. Maybe I'll use the decals later for some other Hornet that I have, but I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'll get different decals somehow, and I'll just get rid of these, and I won't put them on at all, because I like a little more color to my Hornet than just the simple gray, and of course the yellow eagle that you can see. Hold on. The yellow eagle that's kept on. So this, it's not a colored instruction manual, but the yellow eagle right there, the eagle head is yellow. So that's the only color to it, really. But I won't be doing that because it's really boring. And I did have, luckily, or just thankfully, I did have a friend who offered to just give me these. I said, does anybody know? I just posted a comment on Facebook on the Scale Aircraft website, or on my, not website page, or on my page. I don't know which one it was in. But anyway, posted a comment on there asking if anybody knew where I had, I could get other decals for this exact airplane. And one guy, thankfully, had the right ones. He just used another squadron from these, but these ones are, it's a lot more colorful. It's the VFA 31 Tomcatters, and they're really nice. You can see that. Really good. I like the black and the yellow. Really like the black vertical stabilizers, and the whole rudder is black as well. The rudder fins are black, and the little cat with the bomb running that's really, really cool. Some of you guys have posted a comment on this as well, that you're looking forward to my build, and I'm actually looking forward to getting the whole thing completed and putting on the decals at the very end. That should be really cool. But yeah, the decals are really nice. Let me open it up so you guys can see. And I do have the original decals that came with the airplane. These are it. They came in the box, factory sealed. And like the eagle head, it's white and yellow. There's not a whole lot, still there aren't a whole lot of colors to this squadron, so I decided to have these, which a buddy of mine just mailed right to me. He did cut off, whoops, he did cut off, as you could see, the other side of them, but look at that. That is way better than what I could have put on there as the original. And the decals are all there. I do have a few problems though. The markings, the US markings for the star, it's not original. So I'm gonna put the different ones on here. I'm gonna put the stars that came with the kit, because they're actually white. There's a little more color to them. They're white, blue, and red. But these, as you can see, are just white and blue. That's it. And they're smaller, they're boring, and with the danger, jet intake danger right here, I'm not going to be using these ones because I think the original decals that came with the kit just look better. The words on here, the white words, are too thick. So they're kind of blurry, too thick and blurry. And I think on the original one, they are not. They just regular, nice, white, nice. Let me see, I'm trying to focus. But anyway, hope you can see that. Just nice white words right there, and they're one piece each. On the other one, they were two pieces. So I'll be using all of these, and of course all the smaller ones that are on every plane. I'll use those on there. But yeah, really nice decals and everything. So I'll be using all that. Put that away. And still the whole issue with some of these, the intakes for the intakes of this airplane, just small fitting issues, big gaps that I have to sand, and I have to just fill with putty and then sand and then smooth out, because it looks really bad if you don't after you've gotten the paint on. And of course the first coat of the black paint will show every part that I did not sand very well. So I'm going to all redo that before I actually put the main color coat on there. And of course these are not glued to the sides yet, so I'll be doing that after I've gotten these painted. And yeah, I'll be gluing them on. But also one other thing I want to mention, I don't know if you can see this. Let me try to focus it a little bit. But anyway, in here there's a small ejector pin marking. Hold on. There's a small ejector pin mark right here that yep, you can see that pretty good, that I had to sand down, and then after I sanded it down, I just put this liquid surface primer by Tamiya, the gray surface primer, right on there, and then I let it dry, and then I sanded it down again after it dried, and it just became really smooth right there. So there's no bump whatsoever, just all the whole contour right there just is nice and smooth, and it follows along with everything else here. So that's nice. So if you want something small puttied up, and sand it down. If you do use this stuff, it also works great as a sanding tool, I guess. You just put a paintbrush in here, rub it on the part that you want sanded, because when you sand it, it actually conforms to the surface and makes it so instead of using putty, it just uses it as a nice layer of like really thin putty. So you don't have to do a whole lot of sanding with it. So I did that all around with the other part, with the other side as well in here. Can't see it very well. But yeah, I did that. And I won't be getting rid of the seam lines in here, way in there, because they won't be seen easily at all. So I won't worry about that. I don't think that's necessary. I'll just leave it as it is. But yeah, other than that, it's been fun getting the cockpit together and the cockpit tub and the stick. And just probably I'll have more fun once I get through all this and putting this whole intake together. But because I think I've watched, if you guys watch Genesis Models videos, he has a whole lot of them on tips and tricks and other full builds. His just YouTube page is called Genesis Models, and he does great work. So I take advice from him and a whole lot of tips and tricks that he shares with his viewers. And he did build the same version of this, except for it was a different brand of it. And he did say that the probably the nastiest fit issue with this whole thing was the side of the intake and the wheel wells. That was just a lot of sanding here, and getting it to fit together was a big problem. So hopefully once I get through this, and once I get it finished and sanded down and glued together and stuff, it'll be a lot more fun from there. But yeah, other than that, it's been great, fun build. So I'll keep you guys updated on my other process when I get through it more. But yeah, this is my first video update, and this is, I'll call it video update number 2, and we'll post it on my YouTube page as well. My YouTube page is called Murder Inc. Models. So I'll do tips and tricks on there, videos of tips and tricks and builds as well. I'll put video updates as well. I won't do picture builds, because sometimes people do pictures and then they put them together and make a YouTube video out of it. I won't do that because that just takes up too much time. I'll just post a video on there. But other than that, if you want to follow me there, you can. But if you have any other if you have comments or something you'd like to share with me that I might not know about, please do, because this is probably going to be an annoying build at some time through it. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated with other photos and videos in the future. Alright, bye.